I suppose we were speaking about game management and seeing a game out. And I suppose one team that I suppose has been famous of doing that down the years has obviously been Dublin. I mean, definitely a very uncharacteristic and poor second half performance, probably one of the worst second half performances I can remember in a long time from Dublin. In all honesty, like they scored more points in injury time than they did in the rest of the second half combined. And they just slowed the game down, kept the ball. But I mean, speaking about the game in the entirety, it was obviously 216 to 113 in the Leinster final. I mean, a lot closer than people think. And once again, like Dublin, it's mad. Like there's been all these one-sided margins and one-sided games. Dublin haven't really been involved in any of them. Like they beat Wexford by 9, they beat Meath by 6. Like, I mean, I can't remember the last time that Dublin were going into a Leinster final having not beaten the previous sides by double digits. So, I mean, it's been a very strange year for Dublin. I mean, they did win the game, but it's still been a strange year so far for Dublin.
It's been a very strange year. Like, as far as I can remember, I think the last time Dublin went into a Leinster final off the back of a very, very tough encounter was the game against Kildare, where the referee was probably on your side at the end with Andrew McLaughlin and Bernard Brogan. Remember that game very well.
Yeah.
But geez, it's a long time coming. And considering in all Leinster Championship games since 2014, only one game up until this year was a single-digit margin, the game against Kildare in 2017. And now we have two in the space of 2 games against Wexford and Meath, who, no disrespect to those sides, you'd expect Dublin to be putting them away with ease, considering the talent they have. But I think it shows the huge loss in that Dublin team is Cluxton. Like, he dictates the play. He barks out the orders, and I don't think Evan Comerford, yes, he might be good down the line, but I think he is that same influence as Cluxton was or is, and that'll be the the obvious caveat for Dublin. And look, fair play to Meath. Like, I expected them to get a hiding yesterday, and geez, they put up a huge showing. And fair play to Andy McAtee's players, considering what happened to them last year, an absolute slaughtering at the hands of Dublin, and then to put up a brilliant performance. You have to give credit to Meath, and they'll go into the Division 2 next year and the Leinster Championship with confidence. And considering there's a qualifier system next year, they'll be confident on going a long way in the championship now next year. And look, Dublin going to the final against Kildare, I think they still should beat Kildare, but I think, look, it'll be a tough game yet again for Dublin. And as I say, Cluxton is a huge loss for you. And look, I suppose, when's the last time you were sweating over a Leinster Championship game, Aaron? A long time ago, it's a...
Yeah, it was definitely a weird one, all right, going into extra time when there was only 3 points in it, and you knew that maybe if Meath got the ball and went down the other end and maybe got a goal, you were talking about extra time. So it was it was a very strange one. And like what you were saying with Evan Comerford, I thought he'd done a good job in the first half with his kickouts. I thought he'd done really well. He made one brilliant save as well at one stage, so I thought he'd done brilliant in the first half. But in the second half, he seemed to go very central with his kickouts, and he seemed to take them very quickly as well. He like, one thing that I think a lot of people don't give Cluxton credit for as well is that, like, he takes a lot of time with his kickouts, especially when they're under pressure. He'll take that extra 5 to 10 seconds just to let everyone get settled, to take a breather, to take the sting out of the game. And I thought Evan Comerford was rushing his kickouts a little bit, which gave me the impetus, because Dublin weren't always set up from their own kickouts. So it'll definitely be something for Desi Farrell to work on. Like, would you say that maybe the sides in Leinster are getting better, or do you think that Dublin are just getting worse, or maybe is it a case of both?
It probably is a case of both, in all honesty. Like, Meath, I think, were much better last year. It's a weird one. They were much better last year going into the Leinster final, and they got a slaughtering. I think they struggled in parts this year at Division 2 in many ways. Like, against Westmeath, they struggled. Against Kildare, they got a 3-point hammering. Like, I think Kildare were a much better team throughout the game, and Meath made a late rally. But going into the game, people didn't give Meath a hope. Like, they gave Meath some sort of hope last year, and they got a slaughtering. They gave them no hope this year, and Meath only lost by 6 points. Like, you have to give credit to Meath, but I think it is a bit of both. I think Cluxton is a huge loss to Dublin, and maybe their older players are getting on a bit, and the younger players don't know how to really close out a game, how to manage a game in many ways. The likes of Tom Lahiff, Padder O'Cuffig Byrne, Paddy Spall, all them, they're new to the system and it will take time. But look, is it the end of the Dublin dominance? We'll have to see against, not so much against Kildare. I think they'll still win that game, but against Mayo or Galway in the semi-finals, I think that'll be the acid test for Dublin to see how they progressed, and we'll find out the definitive answer then. But for now, I think it's a bit of both. I think the Leinster sides have improved vastly, but Dublin, there's questions to be asked, definitely, especially after the performance yesterday.
Yeah, like I'd have to be honest, like watching the first half performance, I thought we were brilliant. We were kind of back to our best. We looked like the Dublin of last year, scoring 2-11 in the first half. Like if Dublin can play like that again, in the Kildare game and keep that level of consistency, I think we're, because it's a tale of two halves. I think if Dublin had carried on in that manner, people would have said, oh, Dublin are back. Dublin are going to go on to win the All-Ireland, like the 7 in a row is back on. And I think what we've seen in the second half as well is like Dublin's they just have a lack of players coming off the bench as well. Like none of their players who came off the bench scored. Colin Basquel has been brilliant with Ballyboden, but it just hasn't worked for him with the Dublin senior footballers. For whatever reason, like Kieran Archer isn't in the squad, which I think is a bit surprising. I would have at least maybe had him in the squad, at least so he can train with the team. Whether he's in a development squad or what the plan is, I'm not sure. And obviously, I know like with the under-20s, you need to give them game time because they haven't had games over the past year. But even putting one or two of them on the bench wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. So, yeah, it is an interesting one with Dublin. Like, and I even had a dream there a few days ago that Mayo beat Dublin by like 7 or 8 points in an All-Ireland semi-final. Now, Kieran McDonald was playing, so I don't think he'll be playing in this game. But like, to be honest, I am a little worried. Like, I don't know. I have a sneaky feeling now with Mayo. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it.
Kieran McDonald, like he's in the back row team and all that. And
Yeah.
He got the ball
kicked
from comes off the bench and scores. And what's he doing there? And look he said the way he kicks the ball. He still has a lovely score in him. So you never know. You never know. He might come onto the pitch and haunt you. And look, the thing is, I think the Leinster final will be tight in the end. We'll get on to Kildare later on, but I think, looking at Kildare, even coming from a Cork fan here, they wilt in the last 10 minutes. That'll be the main thing for Dublin. I think they'll probably put them away in the last 10 minutes. Kildare wilted against Meath. They wilted against Cork. They wilted against Clare. And they wilted a small bit against Westmeath yesterday as well. So that'll be a huge bonus for Dublin going into the game if they're struggling. But at the start of the game, Dublin would have to perform like they did in the first half. I think if they performed like they did in the first half yesterday against Kildare, they'll put them away in the last 10 minutes. That's probably given at this stage. I think Dublin should put away Kildare, but the acid test, as I said, will be Mayo or Galway. But you never know. Michael Meehan might come into the Galway team, or maybe Kieran McDonald will come into the Mayo team. We'll have to see. But look, it'll be tough either way in that All-Ireland semi-final, and that'll show how far Dublin have regressed since last year.
Yeah, like I suppose it will be an interesting one, all right. Like, and I mean, yeah, like Meath can definitely take a lot of confidence anyway from the performance in the second half, and I suppose their season doesn't end on a sour note like it did last year. And I suppose with the refereeing decisions as well, like they definitely should have got a penalty, and there was a few. Brian Fenton was kind of involved at both ends in terms of penalties. So on another day, they could have, you're talking about a 6-point swing. It definitely could have maybe worked in their favour. Kildare, they obviously beat Westmeath.